Jeff Keighley has graced us for hours tonight. How are you feeling after seeing that man's face for
So
that
graced.
long?
So very graced.
It's episode 449 of the Casual Hour. I am Bobby. That is Chase. It is currently 10:23 p.m. Central on the 11th of December. And we are coming at you late tonight because we just got done watching the entirety of the Game Awards, the 2025 Game Awards. And congratulations to Claire Obscure. They won it all, baby.
They won goddamn everything.
They are the most winningest game in the history of that show, I believe.
I have to imagine.
We talked about this while we were watching it off pod, but they're in so many categories, both indie and game of the year. I just feel like they were sweeping across the board.
Yeah.
But we got a lot to discuss over the next several days here at the Casual Hour. We have our recap of the Game Awards tonight, and then next week is our Game of the Year awards. We are probably not going to get too into the weeds on some of the winners of the categories in the Game Awards tonight because we have our own thoughts and feelings on video games that we'll be sharing. But maybe more like, hey, what do you think about some of this stuff, some of the announcements overall? How do you feel it was? More of just our general sentiment on the Game Awards as a whole. So, yeah. Right? Is that what we're doing? Is that how we're doing this?
I'd say, we the biggest thing to cover with the actual awards themselves was Claire Obscure winning everything. Like the rest of it, I don't think is a huge deal either way. I don't think anybody necessarily got screwed. I don't necessarily agree with all the awards, but you're right. We're about to just cover our own thing next week. We'll let that do the talking. But I think we could talk about the show, and we did see some new announcements there. But I know we've also been playing a couple of games, and this is our last chance to talk about some of those games before we have to go into our own game of the year. So
yeah, what do you want to do? How do you want to do? I can kick us off on that.
Yeah, go for it.
I've actually been playing quite a few things right now. I'm not going to talk about all those because I've been a busy bee, which is typically on brand for Bobby. But the game I've probably been spending the most time with outside of Arc Raiders has been Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And we talked about this on the preview. I've been super high on this game coming out. I like Metroid quite a bit, but it's never been the series that I probably give enough flowers to from Nintendo. And Metroid Prime 4 has been in production for well over a decade. This is a game that had a pretty troubled development. If you don't remember, they pulled this. I think it was Bandai Namco.
I remember. Right? It took for fucking ever.
So this got pulled and went to another studio, and
multiple times that it had been like scrapped.
Absolutely,
it sounded like
So this is one that is available on the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm going to be speaking only on the Nintendo Switch 2 version of this. That's the only one I've played. I've not seen anything on the Nintendo Switch version of this. But Chase, I think this game looks really good on the Switch. That 60 frames a second, 1080p on that thing looks really good. 4K 60 on the big screen is awesome on this thing. It runs really well. It responds very well. The game feels solid, and it looks great. There's some really nice reflections they're bringing into it. I think that the environments are some of the most ambitious I've seen from Nintendo. Like, they're just huge, sprawling. They really go into a lot of different elemental things as well. So you've got like more of a jungle area. You've got frozen. You've got a volcano. So you get to see a lot of Samus on all that. There are a couple things that I think were maybe not the best choice as far as adding to the formula for Metroid Prime. If you've been under a rock, Metroid Prime is the first-person shooter Metroid game. So the last Metroid game from Nintendo was Metroid Dread, which was a 2D scroller. If you weren't around for it, I really enjoyed that one quite a bit. But Metroid Prime 4 is finally out, and I think it's good, man. I think the game feels great. The puzzles are very rewarding. I've played a lot of Metroidvanias. I know that's a genre that you're not a huge fan of. I think I'm pretty into them, and the more I think about certain games borrowing the formula, the more I'm like, yeah, maybe I am into Metroidvanias. But I think the proper Metroid games, at least the ones that I've been playing as of late, you just feel so much more badass. Like, Samus feels like a badass. When you find an upgrade, it feels earned. It feels like you are becoming more of a threat. The story stuff here is pretty interesting about how some of the enemy types that you're up against came to be. They've also introduced a whole new mechanic with telekinesis. So you are the chosen one for this race, and they are bestowing upon you some of their capabilities. And that's added in some pretty cool stuff from a puzzling standpoint. Most notable, you get a real-time control of a power shot. So you go into your scanner mode and you shoot this burst, everything slows down, and you are guiding this projectile. So you'll be in rooms where you have to like shoot this through a cracked window to unlock the other side of a door, or you need to be able to go and find an enemy that you have to hit 3 elements on it at once to lower its shield. And so you have to like go around some of the stuff that's flying around it. And it's been really cool. What's not been really cool is that motorcycle. That thing's pretty weak.
Really?
Yeah, that's I want to talk about that for a brief moment here. So, do you know anything about the music? Have you read anything about the music in this game or the lack thereof? Okay.
Nope.
Have you seen anything about that motorcycle in movement? Like, do you know anything about that at all?
I've seen some clips of it driving like over sand dune stuff, and it seems like it goes decently quickly, but it also seems like the areas that you're motorcycling around, the big open world stuff, looks pretty empty to me.
It is maybe one of the most depressing open worlds I've been in, if you want to call it that. It's a hub. It's literally there for you to go back and forth a lot through to these dungeons. And that's the thing. Like, you start the game off and you're looking for 5 keys. You go to a dungeon, you're going to get new abilities there that let you go and do more in the other dungeons, etc. The big thing here to call out, Nintendo has made a very strange decision, Chase. Imagine that, if you will. They have removed, and I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I'm going to say it this way. They've removed the soundtrack of the game, the score of the game, from that open area. And if you're driving on your motorcycle through that giant empty desert, you're just getting kind of a droning like wind sound around you.
Cool.
You can get music, Chase.
Okay.
1 second. If you want to get music in that area right now, it's going to cost you $29.99.
There's an amiibo associated with the music?
This amiibo unlocks the music for the desert area of the game.
Why?
This amiibo has another function that actually makes sense from an amiibo standpoint. Once a day, you can tap your Switch with this amiibo and get an overshield for Samus. So if you're going into a big boss fight, you can tap your Switch, get an overshield for that, and go in there and fight.
Okay.
I have the Metroid Dread amiibos. They're over here on that shelf.
Sure.
And I like Samus. I think it's a cool design. I wanted to get it. The thing about it is I don't feel like
the Dread ones do nothing.
They do. They added in there's an additional, like, you could swap out certain sound effects for Samus with one of them, and then the other one I can't remember what it got me. So far, the only amiibos that do anything in the game are the various Metroid ones.
Sure.
I think amiibos are kind of dumb. I collect a few of them. I've got some Zelda ones. I like the Samus design. I've got a few. I think I had a Mario one or two. But I think this is a pretty brazen move, and I think it's a pretty shit move in a lot of ways. Like, people get up in arms. Like, I think delivering what they did with Pokemon ZA with the DLC, tying a lot of the Mega Evolutions behind that.
That game has no amiibo support, which is
Correct.
a little weird considering
Correct.
how many Pokemon amiibo there are. That is very strange.
But this just feels bizarre. Now, what I do think is there's that after you complete the game, you unlock that function for it's a jukebox that you can pick songs from different dungeons you go to listen to while you're out there. So you get that capability, I believe, after you beat the game, and the amiibo just gets it to you earlier, from what I understand.
Sure, but the idea that, I mean, because the open world out there, that overworld area is pretty empty, and I imagine and it's pretty large too, right? So it's taking
it's big.
minutes to get from
Yeah,
you know place to
absolutely.
place. And so
Absolutely.
for all of that to be silent, more or less, sounds bad. I mean,
It,
the game I think I brought this up on a previous show, but I'll bring it up again. It's like the Wind Waker.
Mhm.
When you're going on the King of Red Lions, especially original Wind Waker on the GameCube. I know for the Wii U one, they tried to shorten that a little bit, but the on the original GameCube, I remember that being the big complaint is that when you're taking King of Red Lions over the ocean to go from island to island, it just took a long time.
Took a
It was
very long
slow. It
time.
didn't feel very rewarding to do that. But at least music played when that was going on, and the idea that you're just driving around with basically nothing going on in Metroid is sounds pretty criminal to me. I guess
It
I'm
it
glad that the rest of the game seems to be pulling its weight, but it
it
also
does.
makes me wonder why you would add in a big overworld like this if you weren't going to do anything with it. Like at that point, just go back to what you had before that people liked.
It's what's strange too though is Nintendo can make a good open world. They know how to do it. But
Sure.
this year they've really struggled with it. Like Mario Kart, they really fucked that up in a lot of ways with an open
Another
world.
game that didn't need a big open world.
Correct. And this one here, this feels like something from a different game completely. And it's just like, why am I like, okay, I'm in this hub where like I'm gonna take my motorcycle and go around. You press start and like you just jump on the motorcycle where you can. So like that's pretty cool. The motorcycle itself feels good. It has a boost mode, and if you double tap the boost, you do the Akira slide and you can get that. The other thing, you're busting up crystals while you're out in the desert. Those go back to your, and you have a hub where you're going to like do your upgrade. So you go to the dungeon, you beat it, you get a chip, you bring that chip back, they increase it. Okay, cool. Now you've got heat missiles. Now you've got ice missiles, and the next one to get will be electrical missiles. So that's all there. The scanning and like learning how to take things out is really good. The boss battles have been great. I keep coming back to this thought, like it's reminding me so much of Zelda, just like the Zelda dungeons. Like you're going in, they are giving you something new that you will master and use in this dungeon, and then when you go out, you will find other places to do it. Like
Well, and that's seemingly the big bummer about the open world or the overworld stuff too, right? Because Zelda is known for having
a great overworld.
dungeons with a rich overworld
Yep.
to have fun around, play around, explore, find ways of getting to the next dungeon. Like
Yeah.
that is the puzzle of the overworld.
Yep.
And it sounds like Metroid is kind of just it has all the cool dungeon stuff that you'd expect from a Zelda style game, but when you go to the overworld part, it's just emptiness.
It's empty. But like, dude, the worlds and the music in those dungeons is fucking rad. Like, I'm glad I get that jukebox, because I really do like the music from those. It's been great. It feels like Halo. Like it feels like how I remember Halo felt with a controller. Is like that's
Well, let me ask you this, because this was the thing you teased before you were going to play it.
yeah,
How does the mouse control feel?
not great. Because it does something very strange. So one, I thought Nintendo would support third-party mice better. It's kind of up to the developer. Nintendo's choosing not to do it with this game. Makes sense.
Sure.
It's their own shit. The Joy-Con is just really small. We're big guys. Like holding that and trying to use the small buttons to be like what you're clicking for that. But the other thing that's strange is that when I'm using my mouse and keyboard, when I'm playing a shooter, I'm using, WASD to move around, and I'm moving my mouse, and that's like changing my viewpoint. Samus is still when you're using the mouse. It's just her arm that you're moving around with the mouse. And like that's not how I play these games. So like I'm still moving with the Joy-Con, but like I'm not really like turning that like I'm just only moving my arms. Like I did not like how that felt. And I've just resorted to playing it. Honestly, I played a lot of this in handheld. So I'm just like, if I'm playing in handheld, just get used to the control schemes there. And that's a bummer. I'm now thinking that will be very cool. If you were playing Stardew Valley, because they're making an update there, like that would be awesome. I think Civ would be really good. Card games,
like
etc.
Game, sure.
Yeah, but like an active shooter where you're constantly clicking in on that stuff and having to have that twitchy precision, I'm maybe it'll get there. I've seen some third party companies that make like a proper mouse attachment you slot around the Joy-Con so it feels better to grip. That could be cool. But yeah, I was hoping to use it more. I'm not using it more. But Metroid Prime 4 is very cool. I've just gotten done with the second dungeon. I'm on my way to the third, and that's all feeling really good. Like I'm enjoying playing this quite a bit. Outside of the desert shit, outside of the, and I'm the problem. I bought the fucking amiibo. Like I'm not helping here, but yeah, Metroid Prime 4. One more quick thing. This came out. It wasn't on our list to talk about, but 3 days ago, a game called Light Up the Town came out. This game's really adorable. You're an otter named Bean, and your job is to decorate a town with Christmas lights. And it's very cool.
It's the Bobby P special then.
It's basically Power Wash Simulator, but cute and adorable and Christmas time. And the soundtrack's great because it's like a little lo-fi, minimal Christmas music. Like there's a lot going on the story that I think will be good for a category that we have in our episodes next week. But working retail for as long as I did really did its job to try and like take the joy out of holidays for me.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff that happens in Bean's life where they're just not into it being in this town to do that. And it's kind of like finding your spark and joy in a holiday again. And it's been a really cool kind of like unwinding in the evening. Like, let's decorate some houses for people, and you're working on a cheer meter for them, and you can go and unlock other lights and shit. But it's currently only on PC, which is a bummer because this seems like ripe for Cozy Game Central Switch lovers to like have something this time of year. But it is very cute. It's very well acted. I think it's actually got a bunch of streamers who are doing some of the voice work here that have been on like Cozy Game directs and stuff like that have lent their voice skills here for it. So Light Up the Town just came out a few days ago. Really good game for a cool winter holiday treat there.
Nice. Winter was always my favorite time to go play Animal Crossing. Like I
Mhm.
like the event stuff that happens in Animal Crossing, and seeing the lights that show up, and especially in something like New Horizons where you get so much more customizability of the town, like seeing what you can do to change your town into more of a holiday theme.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
cool.
this is a great time for a kind of cozy game. So that's cool if there's one that's
Yeah, you should take a look at it. I think that
feel.
the look of it and how they do it, just watch the trailer sometime. Again, Light Up the Town out on Steam right now. And Metroid Prime 4, that one is $70, and I think Light Up the Town is 20, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, those are the big things. I mean, I've downloaded a bunch of other cool shit.
Light Up the Town is 15, but right now it is 12% off, so it's only $13.19.
It's worth picking up. It does have good control support too, if you are concerned about that being on PC. If you have a Steam Deck, it's apparently very good on that.
And it has a free demo.
And it has a free demo. Worth checking out. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've played a couple things. Bobby will be happy to know that I've played 2 things that Bobby has told me to play.
Oh, you do listen.
Which would not does not narrow down the list because
it's a big list.
To play a lot of games. But one, you actually put your money where your mouth was and purchased a video game for me. So I felt obligated to play it, obviously. But you were telling me that is it Mega Bonk?
Mega Bonk, yeah.
Mega Bonk was pretty cool. That it was a roguey kind of game that had a lot of Risk of Rain 2
Bullet Heaven
Survivors kind of energy, yeah. And that you thought it was something I needed to try. So I tried it one night and I thought, well, I'll play this for 20 minutes or so. And then I played it for a few hours.
Yeah, man,
I had a pretty good time with it. I unlocked a few characters, and I think it's neat. It's
one of those.
It is it's like a 3D Vampire Survivors kind of game with the very similar Vampire Survivors / Risk of Rain, going and finding power ups, and the enemies continue to get harder and harder.
Monster gates.
Like as you continue to live in that world. Like Risk of Rain, you're looking for portals that get you to a boss fight that then take you to the next area, and it's got a lot of that kind of roguelike, kill 1,000 enemies to unlock
Yeah.
another thing that allows you to unlock another thing that allows you to unlock another thing. And I thought it was all right. I ended up getting some halfway decent builds. I got the skeleton character who's riding the skateboard.
It's
He's
pretty
he's
good.
kind of fun. And I thought that was neat. I'll probably go back and play a little bit more of that. I don't love the art style compared to
Yeah.
some of the other games in that kind of genre that I think have really cool art styles or are really interesting that
This
way.
feels very like intentionally derezzed.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, mechanically, I think it is doing some cool
Yeah.
things, and that is kind of the where where it makes its bones.
It's
But
not too expensive either, and I think it's currently only on PC.
I
I
believe
think
that's right.
it's like under $10 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say it's worth
One
picking
dude
up
made that,
or
by the way.
do what?
One dude made it.
Yeah. And if your best friend buys it for you, then what are you gonna do? Not play
It's not bad.
it? And then Bobby also said that I needed to play Skate Story, and I thought, well, I should probably do that before Game of the Year starts. It is not a super long game. I don't think I'm going to beat it before Game of the Year starts, but I did finish a couple chapters of that. I've eaten 2 moons,
Hell
and
yeah.
uh, and
Are you
so
liking it?
some yeah. I think for the most part, I'm enjoying it. The skating is if you go in thinking it's going to be Tony Hawk, I think you're going to be a little disappointed. The skating is not that fast and it's not that combo heavy. There are combos in the game.
Yeah.
There is some speed in the game, but this is not a game that is about making millions and millions of points and reverting into manual, into kickflip, into grind, into manual. Like that's not exactly what this game is. It is much more about doing a single trick each time, like doing a nice ollie, doing a nice heel flip. But it's more of like an adventure kind of game where skating is the way that you interact with the world.
Yeah.
It is a very weird game for sure. You
Yeah.
you have big stone philosopher heads yelling at you about philosophy, but also wanting to see you grind rails.
Do
um,
you get the Children of the Sun like aesthetic reference stuff?
yeah, I see where you're going with that. Like Children of the Sun is probably a little grosser and more visceral in that way, but this one is you're a demon who is made of glass, and you are trying to eat the moon, and you have a contract with the devil that you will get your soul back if you eat. I think it's 12, 12 moons, something like that. There's just some amount of moons that you have to eat before you get this contract with the devil. It's
It's
interesting.
more style than substance, right?
I I think that's fair to say. I think there is still some substance to the game, and I enjoy some of its weirdness, but it is not the most pleasurable thing to play. In the way that Tony Hawk is like a pleasure to play, to combo things out and to figure out how you want to break the game in that way. It is not pleasurable in the same way that Children of the Sun is pleasurable, since you brought that one up,
Yeah.
of lining up my shots and doing the strategy of hitting something, and then okay, once I start my shot, now I'm going to bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce, and that feels good too. And this game, I think there are some times where I would say it really doesn't feel good because
Yeah.
I'm still not used to having to push with one button and then jump with another one and then hold stuff down as I jump to be able to
Sure.
to switch to what kind of trick I want to do. The When you're holding down the jump button to like charge your ollie, it will start to have a little indicator on screen that will like charge up, or it's more like a circle that keeps revolving. And if you let go at the right time, you get a bigger jump out of it. You get a bigger ollie. But also, that is that's not necessarily the time that you want to jump. It's just the time that is best to jump. So that doesn't always kind of work out the way you'd like it to. It does have a Tony Hawk style. Hey, if you keep doing the same trick, you'll get less points for it. So you want to try switching up your tricks. But there's kind of no other reason to other than the points, and the points for the most part, don't really matter. There are a couple times where a mission will have you try to get more points in a single string or in so much time, but for the most part, you're just kind of doing little tricks around these small little levels to get to the next adventure kind of, jump over 3 manholes before I give you this thing that you need to move on to the next area.
You're playing this on
Um,
PlayStation, right?
I am playing this on PlayStation. I think it plays relatively well there.
Yeah.
I think it's overall a solid game, and I'm enjoying the aesthetics of it. But I don't know if it's necessarily going to crack my top 10. I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I played it. I could even see it being something I go back to and finish.
I'm
But it
surprised
seems
you
to be.
picked that up over Demon School.
I'm also a little surprised. I think it's
Yeah.
because I know Demon School is like 45 hours, and this one is like 9.
Demon School's on the Switch, right?
Demon School is on the Switch. I think Demon School is probably going to be a heavy favorite for something like my backlog game of the year.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing more of Demon School at
Yeah.
this point. But I did play some Skate Story, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I wanted to mention it here.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna talk about it tonight. I'll probably show it to you in the future. I did pick up that Floatsome game, by the way. It's cool. It's neat.
Yeah.
And
I bet you'd think that.
and then there's another one I picked up I haven't played yet. I was going to see if you wanted to check it out with me because it's like a Golden Idol like, but it's called The Seance of Blake Manor. I don't know if you've seen anything on that one or not. It slipped by all of our preview shit, but people are going ape shit that, hey, if you like these types of games, Obra Dins and stuff, check this one out. So we'll see what that might bring in the future too.
Cool. All right, you want to chat a little bit more about the Game Awards,
let's do it, man.
What we thought about the show?
Not that we give ratings out here, but like if you were given a rating on the Game Awards this year on a scale of 1 to 5, Chase, how would you rate the Game Awards?
I honestly would put this right in the middle. I think it was a 2.5. I don't think there was anything in this show that actively pissed me off in the way that there have been in previous Game Awards shows. The most cringe is the wrong word, but when they brought out the whole cast of the Street Fighter movie, that felt like that was going on a little long because you brought out like 12 fucking people.
There's a lot
They all
there.
had something to say, and then now we're trying to present a award with 12 people out there as well. Like that was like, okay, that's going on a little bit long. But nothing was actively pissing me off like it has happened in years past. But at the same time, I just wasn't excited for much of anything on the show. I wrote down a couple of games that I thought were interesting that I'd want to discuss a little bit more with you. But for the most part, it just was a lot of stuff that I don't have a whole lot of interest in. I know you feel differently. I think it was catered a little bit more towards your interests, but
Yeah.
at least from like the games that were shown. But as far as the actual show itself, what did you think? What would you think?
I think that this was probably one of the least offensive one of these in a while. I think that the celebrities that were there were good this time around. I think the music choices mostly were 50% the right ones for this. I feel like the pacing, it felt good and paced how they were moving things through. Nothing really lingered too long on it.
For being like a 3.5 hour show, depending on what you count as the beginning of the Game Awards, it's a long show. That's certainly the truth.
Sure.
But I feel like it didn't drag as much as it has in previous years.
Correct. I still think it misses the larger target that it needs to hit for the gaming community. This is definitely a like pay us money and here's your trailers. Like that's what this is. And I love D3, so these are things that I enjoy. I'd probably put it somewhere like a 3 to 4 is where I would end up hitting this one. Like there were some big games here. I don't think that there was anything like there was one thing that surprised the hell out of me. And we'll talk about it here in a minute. There were some things that had been kind of rumored, but still stuck the landing in a big way for me. And there was revisiting some things I've been curious to see more on for sure. But I think all in all, like we get 2 times a year to really like pause, reflect, and see what's cool and upcoming in this industry. And while I think
at least from like the whole industry, because
Yeah.
we do get our Nintendo Directs, we do get
The Next
our
Fest and all that
state of
shit.
plays, we see our Next Fest. Like there are
Yeah.
lots. I would actually argue there are lots of times that we get to see what's next out of video games. But in terms of we're all coming together for like a singular purpose, it is now that something like E3 is dead and all
Yeah.
the shows stuff around that, all the other big shows don't really seem to happen much either, or at least not to the intensity they were before. It is kind of just the Jeff Keighley show of Summer Games Fest in summer
Yeah.
and the Game Awards in the winter.
Well, since I think I'll have a little bit more to say on some of this stuff than necessarily maybe what you would, what was your favorite thing that you saw from the Game Awards this year?
I mean, the thing I'm most excited about is the thing that we know the least about, and that is they announced a new Old Republic game.
Single player,
Single player. It's called
RP.
Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. Star Wars FOTOR, I guess is what we're going to end up calling it.
Yeah.
No date for this, no gameplay of this. An extremely narrow trailer that we saw. A woman, I guess
A couple
Jedi
droids, right?
Did we even see droids?
I think on her right and left there was droids with her. I think.
Okay, I'll have to rewatch the teaser thing that we got, but not a character that we're familiar with that we'd seen in KOTOR 1 or 2 to my knowledge. Just very the setting was also very like derelict. It wasn't like, oh, you're on Coruscant or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it was, you couldn't really tell. But just the excitement hey, somebody who is currently on his YouTube channel playing through Knights of the Old Republic 1. I know that A More Civilized Age just finished their KOTOR 2 playthrough and podcast stuff about KOTOR 2. So there's a lot of the Old Republic stuff going around in my head right now.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting to announce a game like this. I guess this means that the KOTOR remake is maybe dead. Like,
well,
dead at this point.
I know that was part of some of the like acquisitions and closures and stuff of that. But yeah, this again, I think the more exciting, and I don't want to bury the lead or anything that you were getting to with it, but on top of it being in the Old Republic, I think that they've brought the right people back to look at this one too.
Right. Yeah, they mentioned that Casey Hudson is back and directing this one, and that's cool. Casey Hudson, who directed the first game and then also worked with Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I am the KOTOR 2 guy, so I wish that Obsidian people were part of this, but I also wish that they weren't, because now they're Xbox people, and I still have my issues with Microsoft. So.
What I don't know is this a sequel? Is this continuation? Is this I think they've referred to it as a spiritual successor. Is this a rebooting? Like, I don't really know what to expect.
My guess is this is going to be a sequel in some sense to the MMO. Mentioning it as Fate of the Old Republic instead of anything with Knights. Like, I think you could call it Knights of the Republic 3 if you were going to do something at that time. But knowing that you've already put an MMO out there that had a lot of story stuff in it, nothing that I know, because I didn't play that fucking MMO. But there's stuff about Revan, there's stuff about like HK47 in that MMO. So I think you want to. I don't know if you necessarily want to distance yourself from that, but you at least know that you don't want to hamstring yourself by trying to still do something KOTOR style, knowing that the Old Republic would still takes place 100 200 whatever 100 years after KOTOR. I think it makes sense to just go, we're going to kind of work in this area like that makes sense to me. So again, no date, no gameplay.
I think probably 27 at the earliest.
27 at the earliest for sure. Like, I'm not expecting this anytime soon, but it is exciting to know that we're finally getting another single player.
That's huge. This is something, I mean, I've had to watch so many. I've played the Old Republic and it's fine, but I've had to see so many kick-ass cinematics for that. And KOTOR is one of my. I mean, I got a Revan statue right there. Like, I absolutely love KOTOR.
I have a Revan statue right here.
There it is. So this is probably my favorite time period that we've been introduced to in Star Wars. So like anything Old Republic has immediately got my full attention. I thought the cinematic stuff looked really slick. Again, I'd love to know more about it. My guess is maybe at the earliest Game Awards in June. I'm sorry, Summer Game Fest in
Summer
June.
Games Fest.
Maybe.
Yeah, I kind of doubt even then. I bet we won't see this. We'll just go dark for at least another year on this.
Yeah.
But again, it's fine by me. Hey, we announced something. Big cool announcement. That's one I didn't expect and was very surprised and excited about. Another game I was pretty surprised and somewhat excited about. Also, another fucking Star Wars game.
Hell yeah, baby.
Star Wars Galactic Racer. Is what
Yeah.
it's called. And it's a new pod racing game.
It's pod racing, baby. It looked good. It looked modern. Well, modern as far as like Star Wars timelines go.
So they said this is from developers who worked on, apparently Criterion developers, because they said Burnout and Need for Speed. So Criterion worked on both of those. So
pretty good pedigree to handle a pod racing game.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Could you imagine like Burnout type shit in pod racing?
I bet it works great.
Yes.
that sounds like it would work just fine.
Yeah, I would love that.
So we saw what looked like Jakku. Bobby and I both guessed because we saw a sandy planet where a superstar destroyer was in the ground, and that's extremely much like Force Awakens stuff. And then at the end they showed what has to be Sebulba, right? I was unclear if Sebulba died,
100%.
If Anakin murdered Sebulba during that pod race, but apparently he didn't. So
Sebulba's a little too old for Anakin murder.
It could certainly be.
He likes kids and women.
It could certainly be another one of Sebulba's species, but I'm going to guess if they showed that with the pod race and stuff, they're like, that's Sebulba.
Did you not hear his engine?
I did not.
Yeah, they played his engine sound, the boop, 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 like that real low kind of.
Yeah,
they played that when he was talking.
I had to go to Wikipedia as we were on the call together watching the Game Awards and saw in the lore that Sebulba bought Anakin's pod racer from Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't know why Qui-Gon Jinn gets the money.
When did he do that? Was he just like, fuck, we got to go here. Here's a nickel.
Yeah, it's like, we're all leaving. Give me some money. I'm not going to give it to his mom. That's for sure. She's still a slave, so fuck her. But then as we know, Bobby, because we both watched, which one was that? Was that Book of Boba Fett or was that Mandalorian? Mandalorian had that, where you saw.
The racer.
You saw Anakin's pod racer just like covered in dust and dirt outside of a town. So obviously Sebulba didn't take very good care of it.
No, I mean he didn't take very good care of Anakin. Period. Let alone his pod racer.
Ain't that the truth? Anyway, Episode 1 Racer was a really cool game.
Yeah,
and pod racing itself is just a cool concept that it didn't feel like we got quite enough of that. So I'm pretty excited to see another game with again like a nice pedigree of developers that are working on that. And I'm excited to see where that goes and what that means.
Earlier in the show, I think kind of like kicking it off or damn near there, we gotta look what that statue was. It ended up being Larian Studios' new game, Divinity, and they had kind of a quasi physical stage act going on where people were being lifted up. It was a very gross trailer. We thought it was Diablo for a while, like how intense it got. I am very excited. They said that that
trailer came later.
That trailer did come later.
Stuff, but this one, was for Divinity.
What's crazy is that they said this is the biggest game they've worked on, including Baldur's Gate 3, which I told you that sounded just like a threat at that point. Like, don't tell me something like Baldur's Gate is one of the most dense and large games I've ever played. And to hear that they're doing some stuff here, pretty fucking wild. I don't think they gave any indication of date on this. My gut says 27 on this at the earliest. But I'm very excited for that one. But probably outside of Star Wars, the thing that got me most amped up was the new Control game. Control, is it Resonant?
Requiem.
RESONANT. That's Resonant,
okay.
Right?
It is Resonant. I'm sorry.
You play as Jesse Faden's brother, who is kind of behind a lot of the bad shit happening in the first game. This one this one looks to do. I was not talking to Chase at the time. I was talking to my cousin when this trailer happened. You remember how like Arkham Asylum felt really cool, but like isolated in that like you are doing a lot of small corridor verticality shit over there. And then the next game was like, you're in Gotham, you're in the city, shit's in the city now. This feels kind of like an Arkham Asylum, which was the oldest house in Control. And then Resident is coming out, and it looks like you're kind of in the city. And you're playing as her brother, and it's more melee driven from what we can see. He had a really cool, your gun shifted around into different things like a shotgun blast or a sniper blast. And this looks to be a staff that can become a dual wielded swords or a big ass hammer. So my hope, fingers crossed, is that it's more actiony than it is soulsy when it comes to that. I really liked the fluidity and the telekinetic stuff with Jessie, because she could float, fly, and then pull up chunks of the ground. If you can do some of that while having close quarters, that's cool. But it felt to me and what we were seeing here that the power types weren't really there. Now at the end, you see Jessie flying towards it. I don't know if you're going to have kind of that GTA 5 thing where you flip back and forth, but this was a hell of a trailer. Remedy needs a hit after FBC this year was such a dud. I think that they were actually having to look at some layoffs due to how bad that thing was performing. Gang of Dragon, I thought for sure was a Sleepy Dogs 2. But I am also really curious about the new direction they're going with Tomb Raider. I enjoyed the reboots quite a bit. I was never a big OG Tomb Raider fan outside of like Lara Croft has very big pointy boobs, and Grade School Bobby thought that was unheard of in video games. So it was a very confusing time for me. The Forest 3, it's just called Forest 3, stood out to me as a big hit like that. I liked Sons of the Forest quite a bit. What was the other one that I had here that I was really excited for? I thought No Law looked pretty good. I'm with you on all the Star Wars stuff. I'm very curious about what a Mega Man game, Dual Override, will feel like coming from Capcom.
Yeah, like knowing that, Inafune is no longer with Capcom, can somebody else make a Mega Man game? Also, Inafune can't seem to make a Mega Man game either on his own, with something like what the fuck was that called? Mighty Number 9.
Oh, that's true.
That game was not all that great. So who knows what Mega Man can be these days? But it looks like it's like a 2D side scroller, classic Mega Man kind of game. So we'll see if they can make one of those. Although they said it's like not until 2027.
Yeah.
And I don't. It didn't look like a Mega Man game that would take that long to make.
No, I agree.
from what we saw.
The other one, I think it's one of the first things they showed off, which was Bradley the Badger. This thing looked kind of wild. It looked like it was kind of Ready Player One at times, because
I think it was actually in the pre-show.
It was. This is like a really cute animated thing that kind of dips its toe into like you control the environment. It looks like you're designing like the platformer at times.
Yeah,
while
you get like dev tools and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You're able to pull up. There's a Double Fine made a game, like an Amnesia Fortnite game called Hack and Slash, that was about hacking the video game and then also doing a slash as like a night kind of thing. But the idea is that you'd pull up like a debug menu and be able to change how stuff in the environment would work, or how you would interact with the environment. And this game is doing similar stuff where you're able to change the size of your character, make them bigger, make them small in different parts.
Yeah.
Or you'd be able to take, as Bobby mentioned, like take a part of the environment. And it seems like they're doing that in a smart way of giving it that kind of checkerboard style pattern to anything that you can still interact with.
Yep.
in that way, which makes a lot of sense. Of like, oh, this is like unfinished geometry that I can continue
Totally.
to mess with, so you can extend platforms out or move things in that way. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I think a lot of the humor in that really turned me off.
Was that Nolan North doing the voice?
I couldn't tell.
It sounded like him.
We did go through a bunch of worlds that were just parodies of a lot of video games. We went through Last of Us world,
Cyberpunk,
Cyberpunk world,
Bloodborne.
Like I'm a little
yeah
about this, but okay. The idea at least is interesting. So I was cool with that.
those are the big ones. Like Control was way up there and Divinity was way up there for me. Like those are two I'm very excited about. But I mean, anything Old Republic is immediately going to win for me.
Totally.
Like, so
the last one for me that I thought was interesting, and it might even be one that I get Bobby to play with me, because I know he likes some of these games. It's exclusive for the Switch too, though, so maybe not. It's
well,
gonna
I
take a
know
lot
what
for
you're,
Bobby to
you,
like the Switch.
I'm this, I've played more Nintendo games this year than you have.
I don't. You might have played more Nintendo games. I have played more games on my Nintendo.
Tomato, tomato.
But
Is this the
we
like
saw,
really cool anime one that you're about to talk about?
yeah, yeah. This is Orbitals,
That's
which
the one.
is coming
Yes.
out in 2026. This looks like a like a Chorus or an Everspace kind of game. It is a co-op space shooter kind of thing, and it's got this interesting kind of retro anime aesthetic
Like
to it.
80s, 90s looking anime.
Yeah, yeah, I would say definitely some 80s in there. And
Orbitals.
but it looks like, one person is flying and one person is working the gun turret, and I wonder how much of that requires co-op, or if it's just something I could continue to play single player, and it's just nice that you could play it with a friend. But I liked a lot of what I saw from that game. I've been a little jealous that Bobby gets to play games like Chorus and like Everspace, because
Mm-hmm.
I would like to play games like those on a Switch, and now it seems like we're getting one that's exclusive to the Switch, and so I'm interested in seeing more about that. I like the aesthetic, and
I don't
I
know
like
if
adding co-op as a kind of option in there.
they are from Tokyo. They're called Shape Farm. I don't think they've made a whole lot of other stuff right now.
Yeah, it's
Um,
possible.
yeah, this is it. Orbital.
Yeah, but I thought it looked kind of cool, and
I agree.
I'd be willing to give that a shot.
I'd check it out.
Definitely see what
Absolutely,
it
man.
looks like. Yeah, so we'll
Absolutely.
see what that's about in 2026. And then the other thing that I just thought was stupid and want to mention again, I guess, or mention in a more extensive way. We saw that Street Fighter movie trailer, which looked looked dumb, but looked maybe dumb fun, possibly. We also
It looked
got
the part.
we got the big cast of here's everybody, and then they brought them all on stage, and that was kind of a shit show of bringing them all on stage. But there were a couple of fun casting choices. There's some WWE wrestlers in there. You got Roman Reigns as Akuma, which I think is actually pretty good casting. Cody Rhodes is Guile, which also seems, at least from a hair color and maybe
Yep.
attitude, works. I don't know if Cody's got quite the build for Guile, but he at least will be fun.
he'll be a good smartass.
Were there? And then the other big one is Jason Momoa is Blanca, which sounds just about right.
Well, I love Orville Peck. He's a country music artist. He's playing
Yeah.
Vega in this. His big thing is he always has like the frills and fringe around his face to where you can't see who he is. But I think that I've never seen him act, so I don't know if he'll be good or not. He's literally a very old school sounding country singer. So
Well, and then you also mentioned that I don't remember the guy's name, but the actor who was playing Zangief just
was
looks the fucking
Zangief?
part.
Yeah,
Just a fucking mountain of a man, and he's
they
got
just
the
got
hair
Zangief to
already.
do it.
Yeah, like that. It's like they just pulled Zangief out of the video game, and we're like, "Yep, here you go." So we saw the whole cast out of there, the whole fighting crew, and some probably look better than others, but I don't know. I don't know what that movie's going to be. If it's anything like any other Street Fighter movie ever made, it's going to be terrible. But at least it has a cast that might be kind
Yeah.
of fun. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. All in all, I think it was good. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to some of the games that were up for nomination. And as we get into our own here, I'm going to get us over to credits, Chase.
Yeah, before you do, let me posit one thing at you
Mhm.
real quick. What if we don't cover the Game Awards next year?
We don't have to.
I like this. I think this one, more than any of the other Game Awards, just kind of got me fatigued with the whole thing. When in years past, when I've been angry about something at the Game Awards. I feel like it's made for better content for this kind of show where I'm able to talk about something in that way, and I feel like we, have strong opinions one way or the other. And this show, for me, just being such exceedingly, wow, I spent 3.5 hours of my night on this and have very little to say other than, oh, cool, they announced a Star Wars game that I didn't get to see much of. I just, who knows? Maybe a year from now when we're in this position, I'll feel a little differently, but I just kind of don't know if we need to cover this.
There's something about, like I mentioned earlier, there's not a whole lot anymore like this, and being a video games podcast, it feels like we should have something to say about this show.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent, but we got a whole year to make that call.
That's true.
We could also see how the Summer Games Fest stuff goes this year, and depending on how that plays out, maybe that indicates it. But
I just know, especially for us during this time, this is prime. Like, we're cramming to finish Game of the Year stuff, and maybe having that one last show to talk about Game of the Year stuff. We spent, I think, like half an hour, 40 minutes of this show just talking about the games.
Well, I mean, maybe in the future we'll do like Monday as like a let's just regurgitate a bunch of video game shit. Who knows?
Something
but yeah,
to consider.
Something. I see where you're coming from.
I see the posts every year where people are like, you don't have to watch the Game Awards. You're not going to be happy about it. And every year I go, you're right, but we still kind of do it for the podcast, and maybe it's worth it. And I feel like most years I am angry at them, and then this year I was just kind of apathetic about it.
That's fair.
And so again, we'll see what happens in a year. Maybe we'll feel differently, but I'm just putting it out there. Maybe this is the last time we ever have to talk about the Keighley's.
That's fair. Well, this week, the reason we didn't talk about anything on Monday night was that I finally got to show Chase a game that I'm really excited about called Absalom, and I think that we had a pretty successful run. I mean, we didn't beat the game by any stretch, but we definitely got past the first big boss of that, and I got to show some of the mechanics and my feelings on it. So if you want to go check that out before we get into our Game of the Year conversations next week, you can certainly do that on our VOD section of Twitch or our YouTube channel. And then tonight we did a lot of discussion there on the Game Awards. Well, not a lot, maybe half of our discussion tonight.
Oh, also, congratulations to Uma Musume, the best mobile game of the year. Although,
allegedly.
Unfortunately, the presenter could not say the name of the game for fucking life, which is really sad. I get that it's like a obscure kind of Japanese word that maybe you don't know, especially when you're up against, I don't know, like what, Candy Crush or something, like easy words that are understandable. But when that's the game that's going to win, because the head of the studio is just off camera about to accept his award, maybe learn the name of the fucking
that's
game.
fair. That's fair.
Uma Masabe? It's not that difficult.
So yeah, if you wanted to follow along with any of that stuff, that's what we got going on this week. Next week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we will have Game of the Award content. Monday and Wednesday being our categories, Friday being our actual top 10 for ourselves in the show, and then our most anticipated. So tune in. I've been building a pretty cool thing to help you watch along with us. So if you can do that live, we'll be doing some real-time discussion of our list.
For that too. Bobby has put in some cool work, and I think it's going to make that show go a lot smoother.
It should be good.
I'm excited for it.
We've tried a few different ways. This should be a way more visual way for Chase and I to see things all at the same time and click through it and make some adjustments there. So hopefully I can get it to work. I think it will. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, experience for the viewer of that.
Sure.
And which is going to make it a better experience for the audio, because we won't just be fumbling around.
Yeah.
Having to re-talk about things. It's all just in a nice, orderly list.
That you will join us for